This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Go In podcast. We are here on a Tuesday tune-up, and I have to my right my lovely co-host.
Hello, Lisa Ryerson.
You gotta
That's
tell
my
them who you
name.
So today we are talking about 3 ways to make good choices. And this, I always say it's one of my favorite. I love this subject though, because I believe everything in life is choices. And so I wanted to come up with ways to help people really make better choices. And one of the ways to do that is having self-awareness. Now, that is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to always do. So when I say self-awareness, what does that mean to you?
Just being really in tune with you, like your authentic self, and choosing properly.
All right. Well, the definition of self-awareness is conscious knowledge of one's character, feelings, motives, and desires. So what you said is correct. The way we feel, being aware of how we feel. Why do we feel that way? So for instance, being self-aware of why do I want to eat this chocolate bar? Okay.
Oh, it's because it's so good.
Okay. And it is good. So that might be the reason that you eat that chocolate bar is you're like, look, that chocolate bar is damn good. I want to eat it. But maybe that's not in alignment with what you're trying to do. So for instance, if you're trying to lose 20 pounds, being self-aware and saying, as much as I want to eat that beautiful chocolate bar because it tastes great, it's not helping me get to my goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So sidebar, I don't know that I'm the correct person to be talking about this because recently we were in Turks and Caicos celebrating our good friend's birthday. And I was feeling a little fluffy. You know, we're in our bikinis and I'm like, oof, feeling a little fluffy. I said, you know what? I'm going to go home and I'm not going to eat fried food and no sodas until my birthday. It was going to be like a month of it. I was in alignment. I thought I was in alignment. Things were going to be great. I made it about a week and a half, which, pat on the back. I was very proud of us. It was
fact check. You made it the deal on Tuesday. You made it exactly 1 week, but go ahead.
1 week. Yeah, winning. We got to count our wins on that. So we go to lunch with Trey, who recently graduated from 5th grade, and we went out for a celebratory lunch. And we're sitting there, and I asked, we love our calamari, and I specifically asked the waiter, is this fried calamari or is it grilled calamari? He said fried. And I go, oh, perfect. I order it. I start eating halfway through the dish. I'm like, oh, I was not supposed to eat fried food. But by then it was kind of too late. And I was like, all right, well, we're just going to have a great day.
This would be an example of not being exactly self-aware, at least for the bet that you made. So no fried foods for how long was it supposed to be?
A month. I made it a week.
You made 25%. It 1 week. It was pretty funny because quite literally, excuse me, sir, is this fried or grilled? Oh, it's fried. Perfect. So exactly the opposite of what you're actually trying to accomplish.
Yeah. So obviously I probably shouldn't have made that bet because it wasn't in alignment with what my belly was telling me I really wanted.
Yeah, so that would be an example. I didn't even realize it at the time, and then I started chuckling. I'm like, you asked him. Anyway, that would be an example of not being very self-aware, no. And maybe the bet was just a poor one, okay? So the next thing that I would say when it comes to choices, being intentional. This is one of my favorite things to do every single morning. Just like, for instance, I'm being intentional on this podcast. I want to give everything I have to the audience, to this camera, to you. So that's what my intent is. When we make these choices, you want to be intentional with what this is why I'm doing that. So do you set intentions every single day? Is that something you do, especially when you're making choices?
Absolutely, I do. It's really funny because obviously I wasn't very intentional about the fried food. But when it comes to my work or things with the children, like I have a list going constantly on my phone. It's in my notes. There's a list. And these are the 3 things I have to get done every single day. And then that's a successful day. So I'm very intentional. I look at my calendar. I see what's going on actually the night before. So like for today, for example, today. Last night, I looked at my calendar for today. Mm-hmm. What do we have going on today? We have to, we're going to record a podcast. We're going to do we're going to have friends over tonight. What are all the things I need to get done to prepare for today? Very intentional about that. That I got going on. The food part, not so good on the control.
So part of your intention to stay intentional is you do it the night before. That's, again, very type A. So we're clear. I can't plan that far in advance. Literally, I don't look until the next morning. But that morning, I do the same idea. Like I look at my calendar. I set my intent for the day, whatever that is. I'm going to have fun today. I'm going to give my very best. I'm going to be joyous. Whatever the intention is that day. But the same thing goes when you're making decisions and you're making choices. Being intentional with, this is why I'm making this choice. And so often I think because we're run so much by just habits, we're not intentional a lot of times with, again, going back to, if you were intentional, like I am going to win this bet with Eric, I'm not going to eat. If you were clearly intentional on that, you wouldn't have eaten the fried food.
No. Well, the thing was too, just in my defense, we never, like he wouldn't bet me on anything. Like it was just a verbal bet. There was nothing at stake. So I think there was something at stake. Like I had to take him out to dinner or vice versa. If he lost, I think I would have been a little bit more intentional with
Fair
it.
enough. Now that goes to the exact bet. If you guys were intentional with the bet, like this is why we're doing the bet. This is the repercussion or this is what you win,
right?
Then yes, had you been more intentional?
I think so.
Okay. And lastly, when it comes to making decisions and choices, I say decisions, but it's really choices, keeping perspective. Now, this is something that I try to remind myself all the time because so often things will happen. And for instance, perhaps I had a little too much tequila last night.
No, that never happens.
It's possible. I was watching the Warriors play and I was like, I got to stay up because watching sports on the East Coast, by the way, that's my only complaint living on the East Coast. It is brutal. That game wasn't over until it was late. So anyway, I decided my choice was I'm going to pour myself a little more tequila to stay awake to watch the game.
It's more like.
So my point with perspective is I had perhaps too much. And so this morning, I was like, oh, you know how you feel in the morning? Well, you don't know because you don't drink. But when you feel in the morning like, I had too much to drink. The perspective is that was my choice. I made that choice. And we were playing pickleball at 7:30. So I wasn't feeling fantastic. But the perspective is, look, I made that choice. So it's no one else's fault but mine. And it really wasn't that big a deal. Although I didn't get to watch the rest of the game. Ja Morant had a great game. So anyway, when I say perspective, do you have an example?
Yes, that was a perfect example for it because, as I always say, I keep everybody in their perspective straight, right? Because you'll go, oh, my hamstring hurts. Well, yeah, another side story. The reason why your hamstring hurts is because you may have overserved yourself. I don't know.
Hold on. This has come up several times. I have hurt my hamstring sober as a judge doing the splits just as much as I have when I've had cocktails. So there's no bearing on whether I had drinks or not. I like to do the splits. I think I can still do it. Clearly, my hamstring disagrees with that.
Clearly, you should not be doing the splits at your age.
Clearly, you shouldn't be judging that I'm trying to do the splits at my age.
I just want to hear the every single morning. I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? And then, so what do I always say? Self-inflicted.
But I didn't really hurt myself. I'm still able to play my game, not to 100%. But the perspective is, look, yeah, it was idiotic, but I made that choice.
Right.
All right.
Right. And it will be my choice in the future if you decide you choose to be in a wheelchair, that I just love you from afar.
See, that's not a threat to me. Like,
I know, you're like, bye. You're excited.
All right. So getting back on point, now we have to talk about something far different after we're done recording. 3 ways to make good choices: being self-aware, being intentional, and ultimately keeping perspective, because so often we just think these things are a big deal and they're just not. So I would love to hear, again, how people are making their choices, if they have a process with that, if this resonates with them. Where can they send that to us?
Well, any of the social media platforms, right? We got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Am I missing one? I feel I'm missing one.
You're asking me.
Anyways, it's Let's Go Win 365 on all the social media platforms. If you can't find us on one of them, that means we're not on it, but I think we're on most of them. And then just email us at info@letsgowin.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. And he doesn't know I'm going to say it, but I want to thank LeVar for being here, helping us out, doing the recordings. He's awesome. We will get some info out on him as well because, guys, he is amazing. If you need any film work, you need editing done, this guy is literally, he is perfect. So, yeah, let's go make some good choices.
You talk to yourself about making good choices, Jay.
All right. Until next time, you guys continue transcending life. We'll talk to you then. Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to letsgowinpodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.